Hi, Lami. I'm good. Good afternoon to you too. Oh, as you know, I'm Reuben Alabi, 400 level student, software engineering. I would say I'm a software engineer by profession, but I would just say I like experimenting with things, finding out about things, computers mainly, so not just software, hardware, anything to do with computer, anything technology. You know, I really love all things like that interest me, and I would say let's say I'm more of like a to myself person though. Yeah, working on that though. That's Ruben.
Where are you from and what was growing up like?
Well, I'm from Kogi State, but I grew up mainly in Lagos and Ogun State. So I would say, growing up, I was mainly the normal kid, not too troublesome. I mean, a bit, but I loved computers right from primary school. I had this computer at home, so if I was in school, if I was in outside, so it was mainly that, or playing with or arguing with someone about something. I don't know. It's something I've grown out from, but something like that. So mainly computer, school, probably church. Then yeah, so that was my childhood. Well, it depends. Something first thing I ever built. I've done a lot of things. I've gone full sec when it comes to the whole computer thing. I did 3D. I did animations. I did this very old language called QBasic. But I'll say the first real thing I ever built was in secondary school. This kind of quiz system with QBasic. So I'll say yes, that was the first main thing I ever built. Well, like you said, it sounds straightforward, but it isn't. You know, it is managing five tracks, at least the main ones in under software development: front end, back end, QA, DSA, and even mobile development. So it's like trying to balance both and get the best of every sub track, or even I won't call it sub track, every track under software development out there. You know, to people who are interested in any of them, or even people that are interested in multiple of them. Do you get? Because each of them alone can be a lot. So getting the best of all worlds out to people, people that are interested, even those that try to find interest in them. Yeah. Well, a developer who writes code is called a programmer, a coder, And as we know, our world has evolved or is evolving past that. So you can't just write code and just follow instruction. You have to think, or have this system thinking mindset where you are putting, you're trying to solve a problem. That's the main thing about software engineering or even anything we do. So programming development is just a tool, or a technique of solving problems. So I would say a developer who thinks get to make more impact, get solve edge cases even that might not even be present in instruction giving, or than someone who just follows instructions to develop or write code. So I would say the main difference, or the main you know this thing is that someone who thinks makes more impact, gets to be seen more and achieves more generally. Exactly that way. Well, drift too. I think it was during post during my IT, right? I had this friend. It's called Salami. The idea was mainly from him. Yeah, I think he was living alone at the time, so it's just something that came into him because he was living alone. He was trying to find something to do. Something he can just do, something he can just not in an hour, 2 hours thing, probably an activity he could do, and he couldn't find a platform at least in Nigeria, in Lagos, where he could kind of book or even find events like that. Then he thought of why not just make a platform like that, and he reached out to me, kind of brainstormed about it because there were a lot of things we were trying to explore, but we settled down for experiences, physical experiences basically. So that's what Drift was about, and I'd say that was the what do you call it, intro point for drifting. Well, I would say first of all, building your own product is more than just the technical part, more than just coding, because I would say the hardest part was deciding on what we wanted to start with. You get, and when you're working on someone else's product, you never get that. You just get oh, this is what we want, which has already been decided, and most of the planning, at least the high level planning, has already been done. So it's just for someone like a developer to come in and handle the technical part. Wow. Well, for building Drifto, it was way more than that. We had to first discuss what the product will be about, the scope, the features we wanted to start with, to get our target audience, and all those things. These things, these are things you never learn when you work on someone's else's product, or you just being the developer, the technical space. So that was those are the things, or some of the things I actually learned from building Drifto. I would say working on that. I'm still not. I don't have everything figured out. You get. I'm still learning on the job. Even though that might sound a bit inexperienced, but that you get to go. Yes, you get to learn people skills. You get to learn planning. You get to learn. Also, you get better at your technical skills, because you're solving or building systems for the problems you actually want to see being solved out there. So yeah. Well, yes, I'm not the loudest in the room when I'm not familiar with people around there. But I would say it goes both ways. Yes, it has worked against me sometimes, or I would like to assume that. But I would say um, I'm working on that. You get, trying to be more open, at least, even the people I'm not necessarily familiar with for first times or first impressions. But I would say being a bit reserved, it gets this affords opportunities to kind of observe people, that kind of best approach and all that kind of thing. But yes, I'm working on being more out there in spaces where, like GDG, where action is, or how will I put it, we are more active generally as a group of people. Well, I'm completely locked in. I'm very focused. Everything is being shot out. Like, especially when I was working on Drift to during post iOS, for like 2-3 months, it was just that was in my head, morning, afternoon, night. I mean, I was just sacrificing my sleep, but every other thing, I could spend hours, trying to model the system, hours trying to, discussing with my co-founder, should we do this? Can we do this? We should drop this, just completely locked in. So most of these things don't matter. Most of the time, I won't use my phone for hours. It was just, planning, coding, developing, researching, just that. So once I set my sights on something I decided I want to work on, it's just me with that against the world. So yeah, that's when I'm completely locked in. Well, I would say there are a lot of amazing people doing amazing things on this campus. At least for the people I know, I say obviously first me. But I would say people like Abi building glass, Victor building Postra, also of amazing people even working on things that might not necessarily be theirs. You get researching on tools, researching on upcoming what you call it, technology. So amazing people. Like if I should start listing most of them, but the list will end. But yes, there are a lot of students working on amazing things, even though you might not necessarily be in the limelight, or you get I might not know their names or know the product or exactly what they're working on. But a lot of amazing things are being worked on this campus. What's next for Drifto? Well, I would say that is still in the works, but the main aim for Drifto is to be the part of where the full event or full experience life cycle can be completed. So from you discovering or hosting your experiences to you finding services or even things you need to host or facilitate that experience, to marketing, yet to ticketing, and the whole life cycle that involves in that's been involved in hosting an experience or an event. You get, that is what Drifto is here for. So I would say building on or adding features or services that we needed for that is what Drifto will be built on, or what Drifto will look like in the next few upcoming years. But for me personally, career-wise, well, 5 years is a bit of a long time. But I would say I'm not the type of person to be kind of look forward. But I would say next 5 years, I want to be making impact. Do you get? I want to spend the first few years to learn, in big organizations, how these things are being done, how impact is actually being made, being orchestrated, how these things are being managed there. But I would say after that, it will be me, at least, I hope, having my own thing, or you get managing it with somebody, making impact in whatever space, field, or solving whatever problem I'll be solving. Yes, I'll be in the next 5 years. Just start it. Just start. I would say for the first part of, let's say, career, yes, or my student life, I've been doubting. Do you get? I wanted to learn as much as I could learn before I could get out there to do things. But just start. If it's an idea you have, start research on it. Start building. Iterate. It gets better. You get to understand things better. But one important thing, get your foundation right. You get? Once you've gotten the foundation, you can do anything in whatever field you want to do. You get? Be it tech development. Just start, do something, have something. You get? Let it be like it's a project oriented thing, like you're actually reading what you want to do while getting the knowledge you need. You get? So just start. That would be my advice. Don't doubt yourself. You get? It eventually makes sense. I mean, it might take some time, but yeah, just start.